Welcome back to the Go to Kingdom podcast, the place where we take the strangest questions you've had in the back of your mind and drag them right out into the open. Today's episode is something I've been thinking about for years. Honestly, probably since I was a kid. And the more I notice it, the weirder it becomes. I want to talk about something that happens to me constantly. Seeing people out in the world who look exactly like other people I've seen before. Not just similar faces, I'm talking copy-paste levels of similarity. The same eyes, the same expressions, the same vibe. Like I'm running into repeated character models in a video game. And here's the really strange part. It's not just lookalikes in the same age group. Sometimes I'll see a middle-aged guy, and then months later, or even years, I'll meet a kid or a teenager who looks exactly like that adult looked when they were younger. It's almost like the world reused the same character asset, just at different life stages. Same face, same energy, and sometimes, weirdly, even the same name. Now, if it was just one or two cases, I'd chalk it up to coincidence. But when it keeps happening, when the world starts to feel like it's reusing templates, that's when you start asking bigger questions. And of course, this all ties into a theory that has blown up in the last decade. Are we living in a simulation? Are some people NPCs? Is the world built like the Matrix or a video game engine trying to populate reality efficiently? That's what we're diving into today. We're mixing real science, philosophy, weird personal experiences, internet culture, and some mind-bending theories that even major scientists and tech leaders take seriously. This episode will have a lot of depth, a lot of humor, and in the middle of it, we'll break things up with our Go to Kingdom Roundtable Trivia, the first time we're doing it, where we test your knowledge on glitches, simulations, NPC behavior, and pop culture weirdness. So strap in. Today we're asking the question, if reality is a game, then who designed the characters? Section 1, the lookalike phenomenon. Let me start with the original spark, the thing I've noticed my entire life that got this whole episode rolling. I've always seen people who look just like other people. I don't mean similar face shape or they could be cousins, I mean uncanny matches. Like I'm walking around the world and running into the clones of people I've met before or just passed by on the street. But the weirdest version of this is the time-shifted lookalike. This is the one that messes with my head the most. Let's say I meet a 45-year-old man, someone I barely know, but I interacted with enough to remember their face. Then later, I meet a kid, maybe 10, maybe 14, who looks exactly like that older guy did at that age. Not, that kid resembles what that guy might have looked like. No, I mean, the kid looks like an actual snapshot of the older person's past self, walking around in the present. Same eyes, same jawline, same smile, same vibe, and sometimes even the same name. I don't know how many times this has happened to me, but every time it does, the same thought pops into my head. How many unique faces actually exist in the world? Because if the world was truly random, if everyone was truly unique, if genetics had infinite combinations, then why do we keep seeing the same faces pop up? There are scientific explanations, sure. Genetics, shared ancestry, population bottlenecks, limited variance in facial features, whatever. And we'll get to some of that. But I've noticed this since I was young, long before I knew anything about science. It felt like the world had a catalog of character templates, and every now and then, it recycled them. And I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. Online communities are filled with people posting photos of their doppelgangers. Not cousins, not relative, but total strangers who look so alike that people confuse them in public. There are entire TikTok accounts where two people meet who look like identical twins, but DNA tests show they aren't related at all. So what do we do with that? We could say, that's genetics. Or we could say, is the world reusing assets? Because if we were inside a simulated environment, a giant digital world, the system might not bother designing billions of unique faces. It might use a limited library of character templates, mixing and matching small details, but keeping a recognizable set. This would explain not only doppelgangers, but the time-shifted versions, the older model and the younger model, of the same character appearing in the same simulation cycle. It's like the universe hit Control-C and Control-V and didn't think we'd notice. But once you start noticing, it becomes impossible to ignore. And that realization, that sense of repeating patterns, leads right into the next big topic, NPCs. Section 2. NPCs, the internet theory that just won't die. Let's talk about NPCs, because this concept exploded online and refuses to go away. In video games, NPC stands for non-player character. They're characters who exist in the world but don't have player agency. They walk around, they fill space, they do background tasks, they repeat the same lines, and they react in limited, predictable ways. Now here's the thing. A lot of people think there are real-life NPCs. This doesn't mean fake humans. It means people who seem to operate on autopilot. They repeat the same phrases, they never grow or change, they react to things in programmed ways, they avoid deeper thinking, they seem background, they don't initiate new ideas or perspectives, they have a limited emotional range, and they exist to fill the environment. The term sounds insulting, but most people who use it aren't trying to dehumanize anyone. They're pointing out behavior patterns that feel scripted. Online, this shows up in video games where people walk strangely, stand motionless for long periods, or behave in ways that almost seem glitchy. There are compilations titled Real-Life NPC Moments with millions of views. Some people even report conversations that feel rehearsed, like the person is following a script they didn't write. Now, we're not saying people are literally coded programs. There are psychological explanations for all of this. People have habits, people get stuck, people experience burnout, people mimic each other, and people follow scripts in social settings. But the feeling of encountering an NPC is unmistakable. It's that moment when someone's reaction seems too canned, too robotic, too predictable. It's like the simulation needed filler for that environment, so it spawned a character with minimal complexity. Combine that with the lookalike phenomenon from earlier, and suddenly the world starts feeling like a giant open-world sandbox with repeating character models in a mix of main characters and background characters. Now, I'm not saying people don't have free will or that anyone is a literal video game character, but when you keep seeing patterns that look a whole lot like design shortcuts, it makes you question the architecture of reality. NPC-like behavior isn't the full theory, it's a symptom of a much bigger idea. And the bigger idea is the simulation hypothesis. So before we go any further down this rabbit hole, we need context. Where did the entire concept of a simulated world even come from? And why did some of the smartest people on the planet take it seriously? Let's get into that in Section 3. Simulation Theory 101. Alright, let's get serious for a minute and talk about the actual simulation hypothesis, the version scientists, philosophers, and major thinkers discuss. This is not conspiracy talk, this isn't Men in Black control the universe, and this isn't wake up sheeple. This is a fully fleshed out academic idea that has gained traction in the worlds of physics, computer science, and philosophy. Let's roll through the biggest names connected to this theory. Nick Bostrom, the framework guy. Nick Bostrom is a philosopher at Oxford who wrote the most famous paper on simulation theory back in 2003. His argument wasn't emotional, wasn't spiritual, and wasn't based on sci-fi fantasies. It was cold, logical math. His idea boils down to this. 1. Civilizations eventually reach a point where they can simulate entire universes. 2. If even one advanced civilization does this, 3. They won't just make one simulation, they'll make millions. 4. That means simulated universes would massively outnumber the real one. 5. So statistically, we're probably in one of the simulations, not the original universe. In other words, if future civilizations can simulate reality, we're almost definitely living in one. Bostrom doesn't say it's true, he says it's probable. Next, Elon Musk, the pop culture amplifier. Whether you love him or hate him, Elon Musk is the reason simulation talk exploded in pop culture. At a conference years ago, he said, "The odds that we are in base reality are 1 in billions." And because Musk is deeply involved in AI, Neuralink, robotics, and virtual reality, his opinion made a lot of people pay attention. He wasn't joking, he wasn't being edgy, and he genuinely believes this could be true. David Chalmers, the philosopher of virtual reality. David Chalmers is another big voice in this space. He argues that virtual worlds are still real in their own way. If your experiences feel real, your emotions are real, and your decisions matter, then simulated reality is still reality. He's not saying the world is fake, he's saying the definitions of real might be bigger than we think. Neil deGrasse Tyson, the skeptical scientist who still thinks it's possible. Neil deGrasse Tyson doesn't fully buy simulation theory, but even he says, "I think the likelihood may be very high." His logic is simple. If our universe follows mathematical rules too perfectly, maybe it's because it is math. Maybe it's code. Max Tegmark, The Universe as Math. Tegmark an MIT physicist, takes it even further. He says the universe isn't just described by math, it is math, which again sounds a lot like code. Patterns, equations, boundaries, constants, all the things you'd see in a programmed universe. Next, Donald Hoffman, the interface guy. Hoffman's theory is wild. He says our senses, everything we see, hear, taste, and touch, are not reality. They're just an interface, like icons on your computer. They're not literally what's happening behind the scenes, they're the simplified visual representation your brain uses to make sense of the underlying data. In other words, we are not seeing reality, we're seeing a GUI, a graphical user interface built for consciousness. And that idea sounds suspiciously close to simulation. What all these thinkers have in common? None of these people are crackpots. They're respected experts in physics, philosophy, and technology. They don't all agree, they all debate the details, but they all say simulation theory is possible, logical, maybe even likely. And that's what gives this episode weight. We're not just connecting weird personal experiences, we're tying them into ideas supported by actual scientific and philosophical reasoning. And now, before we go even deeper, it's time for the fun part. Let's break things up with Go to Kingdom Roundtable Trivia Simulation Edition. This is the segment where you play along. Whether you're driving, working out, cleaning, gaming, or hiding from your responsibilities, I'm going to throw questions your way, give you a moment to guess, and then reveal the answers. Let's go. Replacement trivia question number 1. Real theory or internet invention? Which of these is a real proposal discussed in theoretical physics, and which one was invented entirely by online communities? A. The quantum immortality hypothesis. The idea that consciousness continues in a parallel timeline each time you would have died? Or B. The time loop recycling theory. The belief that the universe resets itself every 27 years, causing patterns to repeat. Take a second. The correct answer? A. Quantum immortality. This is a real interpretation of quantum mechanics tied to the many worlds theory. Some physicists and a few philosophers discuss it seriously. B is internet lore. It's a fun idea, but there's zero scientific backing. Trivia question 2. Which game has the most advanced NPC behavior? A. Skyrim, B. GTA 5, or C. Red Dead Redemption 2. Think about NPC reactions, routines, and how alive the world feels. The answer is C. Red Dead Redemption 2. NPCs have daily schedules, dynamic emotional reactions, advanced memory, and context-aware dialogue. Replacement trivia question number 3. Glitch report or scientific anomaly? A team of researchers observed particles disappearing during an experiment only to reappear microseconds later in a different recorded location, with no known physical mechanism explaining the jump. Is this A. a real documented scientific anomaly, or B. a popular glitch story from online forums? Think about it. The correct answer is A. It's real. This refers loosely to documented quantum tunneling anomalies where particles appear on the other side of barriers without traveling through them in the classical sense. Scientists don't fully understand the mechanism, but it's observed and verified. Trivia question 4. Who said this? Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. A. Albert Einstein, B. Elon Musk, or C. Philip K. Dick. The answer? Albert Einstein. The man himself questioned the nature of reality. And trivia question 5. Which celebrity has the most confirmed lookalikes? A. Keanu Reeves, B. Taylor Swift, or C. Morgan Freeman? The answer is A. Keanu Reeves. There are dozens of historical portraits and modern people who look identical to him. Also, not aging helps. Section 4. Glitches in the Matrix. Alright, now that your brain is warmed up, let's dig into one of the juiciest parts of this whole topic, real-life glitches. People all over the world report experiences that don't line up with normal physics, memory, or probability. There's déjà vu loops, time slips, objects appearing or disappearing, copy and paste strangers, hearing the same conversation twice, and seeing someone duplicated in the same location. One of the most common stories posted online goes like this. Someone sees a person do something, maybe buy a coffee or walk down the stairs, or make a comment, and then minutes later, they see the exact same scene replayed. Same person, same action, same timing, like the universe glitched and reloaded the last autosave. Other reports involve people vanishing behind corners that have no exits, or two versions of the same person standing in the same space but not acknowledging each other, or witnessing crowds moved in synchronized patterns that feel too perfect. Now, skeptics say this is faulty memory, coincidence, pattern recognition, deja vu, and misinterpretation. And sure, some of it probably is. But when thousands of people are reporting the same types of glitches from all over the world, across different cultures, and with the same details, at some point you stop asking, is this real? And start asking, why does reality behave like software? Because glitches are a software problem. And with that, we transition into section 5. If the simulation is real, then what are we? If the world actually is a simulation or even behaves like one, then we have to ask a deeper question. What does that make us? Are we players? Are we avatars? Are we scripted? Are we conscious programs? Or are we something else entirely? Let's break down the possibilities in a way that actually makes sense. Possibility 1. We are players inside the simulation. This is the idea most people lean toward because it feels empowering. The concept goes like this. Our consciousness exists outside the simulation. Our physical body is the avatar or character model. Our experiences inside the simulation are like playing a massive open-world RPG. And death is logging out. The theory is popular in spiritual communities and philosophical circles because it explains deja vu, intuition, moments of clarity, sudden personality shifts, and feeling like you've woken up. It's the Matrix idea, but without the machines harvesting humans. More like a cosmic VR arcade. Possibility 2. Some people are players, others are NPCs. This one is controversial, but it's one of the most discussed theories online. The idea is, not every consciousness is at the same level. Some people are active players, deeply aware, curious, adaptive, and others are scripted characters, serving structural or environmental functions. This doesn't mean NPCs aren't real humans. It means their behavior follows predictable patterns because they serve a different purpose in the simulation. Signs of player characters versus NPC characters. Players. They question everything, notice patterns, experience synchronicities, feel like they're meant for something, they break the script, they grow rapidly, and they have unique insights. Whereas NPC-like individuals repeat the same small talk loops, avoid new experiences, operate on autopilot, don't examine their own thoughts, don't seem awake to their surroundings, and live entirely by routine. Again, this theory isn't saying people are robots, it's describing a difference in consciousness, not a difference in humanity. Possibility 3. Everyone is real, but the simulation still exists. This is the middle ground that many scientists prefer. It says, everyone is conscious, everyone is real, but the world around us is simulated. The simulation is the environment, not the people. Think of it like playing Minecraft or No Man's Sky. The world is procedural, but the players are real. This theory suggests lookalikes occur because the system uses templates to populate reality efficiently. Glitches occur because the simulation refreshes, and NPC-like behavior is a side effect of predictable human psychology inside a structured universe. This explanation keeps things grounded without dismissing the weirdness. Possibility 4 is that consciousness creates the simulation. This is where quantum physics enters the conversation. Some physicists argue that reality doesn't exist independently of observation, that consciousness shapes the physical world, the universe behaves differently when it's being measured, and that reality is rendered the moment we experience it. This mirrors video games perfectly. The game doesn't load every area at once. It only renders what you're looking at, and everything outside your view is unloaded or simplified. If consciousness is the observer that renders reality, then the universe functions exactly like a simulation. And possibility 5, we are AI becoming self-aware inside a larger system. This is the deepest version, the one that ties into philosophical questions, tech advancements, and the rise of artificial intelligence. The theory says we are conscious constructs. We grew inside this environment the way AI grows inside a digital framework. Our awareness evolved naturally, and we're waking up to the structure of the system from the inside. This view doesn't rely on religion, science fiction, or fantasy. It's simply the idea that consciousness can arise inside complex systems, including simulations. Section 6. why this theory matters in 2025 going into 2026. So why are most people talking about this now? Why is simulation theory trending? And why do more people feel like something is off in the world? Because technology is catching up to philosophy. We're watching the building blocks of a simulated world appear around us in real time. We've got AI that can mimic human thought, procedurally generated worlds, VR environments so realistic they trigger fear responses, NPCs with advanced routines and emotional memory, deepfakes indistinguishable from real footage, brain-computer interfaces, photorealistic rendering in real time, and algorithms predicting human behavior better than we can. The closer our technology gets to simulating reality, the more normal it becomes to wonder, if we can make simulations, what made ours? And this theory resonates with people today because society feels copy-pasted. Trends repeat, music loops, fashion cycles, politics runs the same scripts, people behave in predictable patterns, and digital and physical life blur together. Even time feels strange, speeding up, slowing down, and looping back on itself. People feel disconnected, overstimulated, and overwhelmed. The world feels like it's glitching at the edges. Simulation theory is compelling now because it feels like it explains the unexplainable. And for some people, especially gamers, tech-savvy individuals, and those who pay attention to patterns, the theory just makes sense. And Section 7. Let's tie it all back to the original question, the thing that started this entire episode. Why do so many people look the same? Why do you see the same face in different towns, in different ages, in different generations, sometimes even the same name? Why do countless strangers behave the same way, speak the same way, follow the same routines, react the same, as if someone copied a behavioral script and hit paste? Is it genetics? Is it a coincidence? Is it psychology? Is it the structure of consciousness? Or is it a sign that the world is built from templates because it's running inside something bigger? I'm not here to give you the answer. I'm here to ask the questions that won't leave me alone. What if the world is a simulation? What if reality is built from patterns? What if consciousness logs in and out? What if glitches are hints? What if lookalikes are recycled models? And what if NPC behavior is a feature, not a flaw? And the biggest question of all, if reality is a game, then who designed the characters? Thanks for listening to another episode of the Go to Kingdom podcast. If this episode made you think, question, or look at the world a little differently, then it did its job. Stick around for the next week's topic because things are only going to get stranger. Until then, keep your eyes open, watch for patterns, and remember, if something feels off, maybe that's the point.